Up here in New England, between the cool of the Green Mountains and the deep of Lake Champlain, is the city of Burlington. In Burlington, an extraordinary social project is being carried out by the locals. A mutual aid network has been constructed, and every day since March 2020, free food, gear, and supplies have been exchanged on the wall of the Marketplace Garage. This is a spotlight on the Burlington group, Food Not Cops.
So hello, my name is Jada. I use they them pronouns. Aquarius, Cancer Moon. So I'm out here because I believe in mutual aid. Community care is the future. I believe that we live in a capitalist society that wants us to be centered around an individualist mindset, but that's fucked. I think community and togetherness and collective shit, it works. Like, we obviously have been here for a little over a year. Yeah, it's just been really good to be a part of and witness people giving a fuck about other people in real time. That's all.
But yeah, they highball prices. And then 65% off of
We love ours.
That's when they lose their profit.
We were like living together.
The concept of Food Not Cops frustrates some. What if people stop showing up? What if no one decides to go? Where are all the contracts? Why are people doing this if they are not being compelled? The fact is, over 500 days of free meal distribution has happened daily since March 2020. Food Not Cops operates on the principle of free association, which is an anarchist idea. If we want to see how this works, for the sake of replicating it elsewhere, we have to break the process down into its component parts and articulate them.
Got some stuff from my undergrads. Maybe some of this could go to distro. But also some ramen. These will definitely go today at distro, I bet.
Oh yeah.
Basically everything here is gonna go today at distro.
Oh yeah.
We have enjoy the 500th day of distro.
Hold it right there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Where did these come from?
That's
My
awesome.
undergrads. The students I work with.
Because they're moving out.
They are moving out, yeah. They're mostly like prepackaged stuff. Which is pretty neat.
There is no codified leadership role or formal structure. Decisions are made by group consensus, because all decisions are being made face-to-face or in public group chats, with everyone aware and able to voice concerns and skepticism. We say that there is the absence of an alienation structure. Food Not Cops is non-bureaucratic. The decision-making power rests clearly in the hands of the participants. A central location from which to operate has defined the Burlington Food Not Cops project. The Hunger Fort is used to store food, cook, and a location from which to offer free food, water, and supplies on its own merit. Fruit and vegetables are grown here, which are often used in cooking. Food is sometimes prepared here, but often people take food from here to cook in their own kitchens, which is brought back to the Hunger Fort location later in the day, in time for distro. Donations of gear and foods are dropped off and stored here. Transpo involves the transportation of prepared meals, camping supplies, gear, utensils for eating, water, and free toiletries to the daily distro site, Marketplace Garage in Burlington. Distro is the event that starts at around 1 p.m. every day, once the meals and supplies have arrived from Transpo. At Distro, local collections from nearby restaurant donations are distributed. Supplies and gear are also handed out based on need. The need is assessed by personal relationships and the discretion of the total group. In this way, people often leave with more than they need because the group decides they would be better off with a surplus. Anyone receiving gear generally participates in the discussion around distribution. It might sometimes sacrifice or pass up the opportunity for useful items to make sure everyone has at least something. This is not codified, obviously. This is not a rule. It happens naturally as a result of normal human behavior. which in the market economy would be obfuscated. We're not meant to think that we actually act like that. But it happens in real life. Anyone still in need after all supplies are handed out receives special attention from the group, and the problem they face is considered by all involved, usually resulting in a quick solution. Gear is generally sleeping bags, tents, or whatever else is required to stay comfortable living without a roof.
I'm always just like shocked at like half the things that you do for us. It's just a wonderful program, like completely. We can eat every day at lunchtime, and I mean, we always know that we can eat here. And whatever that, you know, I ask for, I get. And it's really awesome. It's totally awesome program.
So when did you start first coming here, and what was your impression?
My first impression was like, it's like, kind of, vegetarian food and stuff like that, but I'll still eat it, you know what I mean? If I'm hungry, I'm gonna eat. But other than that, it's like, I mean, you guys are so over the charts, like the things that you guys have done. I mean, and you have good funding, which is great. And I have always suggested that you do have funding, more funding than you should have, you know what I mean? And it's just like, you know, I got interviewed at the VFW, and they asked me, well, what do you think, like, as far as homeless people or, like, whatever, you know, what needs funding? And I said, you guys, immediately. I mean, you guys are just amazing. It's great.
Yeah, and so then it was during the pandemic that BTV Cop Watch started doing mutual aid in the Marketplace Garage downtown at 1 p.m. every day for like 3 or 4 days. And there was somebody named Alex who was a member of both a BTV Cop Watch and Food Not Bombs, and started asking me if I'd come, and a couple others from Food Not Bombs started coming and, you know, trying to round up food and bring it. And then from there, we've just been doing it together, BTV Cop Watch and Food Not Bombs, every day, 500 days.
I think that's one of the things that makes this really special, that it happens every single day. Are there any particular challenges you can see in that being replicated elsewhere, happening every single day?
It takes a lot of work. It just takes a ton of people doing a lot of work. And so we've been lucky to have hundreds of people getting involved, and getting hundreds of people involved has taken a lot of organizing work from a lot of core members, and then to be continually recruiting new members, because people can give time to a project like this, and do that work for you know, several months sometimes, and then they get a job or they move away or life circumstances change in another way such that, you know, maybe they don't have time, maybe they end up, you know, having to do more of the receiving than the giving from Food Not Bombs. Yeah, I think one of the things that's most exciting about Food Not Bombs Burlington is that we're one of just a few Food Not Bombs chapters around the country that's serving food every day, sharing food every day. And then another thing that's unique about Food Not Bombs Burlington is that we receive, cook, give animal products and meat. And that came about because we were offered them, and because the folks who we share food with request meat. And so it seemed like a really obvious thing to say yes to, even though it sort of went against some of the like ethos of Food Not Bombs as a collective or a movement of organizations.
It's typically vegan, right?
Typically vegan or vegetarian,
Mm-hmm.
For lots of reasons. Food safety is one of them, and I think that, you know, we serve a lot more meat in the winter because it's easier to store and know that it's safe, and, you know, having that hardiness is a bigger help in the winter, I think. But food is thrown away everywhere all around us, and so we get tons of food from workers whose employers tell them that they need to throw this food away, and instead of throwing it away, they just bring it here. And I think that's really cool, because the like environmental effects of our diets are in some cases negative when we do that, because if we're eating food that would have otherwise been thrown away, and you assume we're going to not change the total amount we eat by very much, then we're not demanding brand new food to be grown in fields using fertilizers and water and resources and fuel for shipping. So I think that's really cool from an ecological standpoint, and especially like there's all these local farms who will bring excess produce to Food Not Bombs, much like they do to the charitable food system. I think that gleaning is just like a really special practice and something to be valued. And so we are, by eating the edible but not sellable abundance that is inherent to a market food system, there is no getting rid of food waste when food is produced for sale and bought and sold. There's always going to be this edible but not sellable chunk, and that needs to be dignified, and we need to all eat it. Instead of this is surplus food for surplus people, we're saying, oh, maybe we should purchase some of our food to support farmers, but we should have a lot of food just be a gift. And I think that's something that we're enacting in a really cool way here. And like Food Not Bombs, Food Not Cops takes a ton of work, and the food part, no money, absolutely no money. So then when we get donations, we're able to spend those, monetary donations, we're able to spend those on things like tents and sleeping bags and toiletries and phones and whatever else folks who can't afford a lot of the things that they need tell us that they need. We can't just grow the materials to build a tent in our backyard, though. Like that's kind of next level, to be able to like start making our own shelter and stuff like that from local materials. Food's the easy place to start to sort of enact a gift economy.
It's just like taking care of each other freely, like giving more gifts to our friends instead of Venmoing each other the same $20 back and forth, like that kind of thing. Like sharing food with your roommates, your housemates, your family. Changes in society. We like City of Burlington. Give us lockers. Let's start there. Like more places for people to shower, and also like enact some legislation that's like protects people's right to grow food and share food. Like we shouldn't have to be like dealing with the city complaining about Food Not Cops using supposedly their land, which is public space, to grow food and share food. They should be thanking us for taking care of other members of the community in the city of Burlington.
The whole complete process of putting free food on the wall every day starts with a morning text message to a Signal group. Who distro today? Many people might respond, or no one. If no one responds, multiple messages might be sent, nudging people to volunteer. This is lighthearted and jovial, but is seriously effective. Monetary donations made to the group are not formal and must be conducted through a Venmo account. Donations collected here are used to buy products at local shops or wherever available, for phone cards and basic life needs, camping gear, or clothes and such. Generally, the person who is taking on responsibility for the Venmo account will reimburse purchases made for someone's need, for example, phone cards. If funds are light, then perhaps 50% will be reimbursed. This is negotiated on a case-by-case basis. Communications between members is done via Signal. The group is kept humming by what we might call core members, who dedicate lots of time and energy keeping the project moving along. Core members are reliable. They offer initiatives to solve problems. They are very frequently available and familiar with many in the group and those in the community. Core members may cycle out or no longer participate if events in their life change. Periphery members participate in preparing food, transpo, or distro. Their schedules may be too erratic to participate regularly, or they may not want to. Periphery members cycle out frequently, necessitating active recruitment of new members constantly. Obviously, core and periphery members, well, that's a generalizing label to describe the dynamic and often episodic splits in responsibility, and these are not real or recognized or desired distinctions, but I want to make them nonetheless. As Sam Bliss articulated in his interview with Oak By, participants are frequently rotating out, which requires a constant outreach for new volunteers and a process of orientation. Outreach is conducted through recruitment and orientation. Recruitment involves inviting people to attend, engaging their interest on continued attendance. People who reach out are encouraged to join an orientation, which is conducted in an informal manner. Food Not Cops draws many volunteers from the nearby university, as well as established Burlington citizens. For this reason, summers are often more stressful. There's less volunteer labor in the area. And the signal group nagging is more urgent.
Maybe an overnight tonight.
The challenge, I think, is that people are used to having a leader, somebody to listen to. There has to be somebody in charge. And I think a lot of the times people don't want to be in charge. And a lot of the people who right now like have assumed positions of authority are realizing, like Sam, is realizing that it's almost disruptive to the structure that we have. So I think like what's really crucial in introducing people to a non-hierarchical organization is making sure that they are all equipped with as much information as they want so that they can assume as much responsibility as they care to. So you're not just going to give them like the rundown of the basics. When you orient somebody, I think, into an organization like Food Not Bombs, you want to tell them everything and you want to see what they're interested in engaging in, because they should be able to, I think, if they want, lead everything.
I think that could be intimidating stepping into something like that as like an individual who necessarily doesn't know anything.
And nobody's going to want to come into a Food Not Bombs orientation and be bombarded with every little detail about how it runs and operates.
So how do you do it? How do you want to do it?
The way I do it is I give them the rundown of, obviously, the basics. What do they need to do if they want to cook? What do they want to do if they need to just attend and come eat at 1 every day at the parking garage, which is a pitch I've probably given 20 times already today.
How many people did you orient today?
Yeah, I think it's this really crucial point because it's introducing people into this kind of organization and this kind of structure that we're not used to and we're not taught how to operate in. I mean, like you always learn in like kindergarten or you play like follow the leader and it's like, yeah. And that's like valuable, right? Because when there's somebody to tell you what to do, like that's helpful. But in Food Not Bombs, a lot of the time you just have to like decide, okay, well in this instance, I'm going to be the one who tells people what to do. I think people are apprehensive about it. But once anybody really gets involved and engages in it, I'm always really happy to see how comfortable people are in it, because it's not a challenging thing to do. And I mean, like, people value that kind of autonomy and everybody loves being heard. So to be able to come into an organization and say, actually, like, I do want to assert myself in this instance and like lead this or participate in that, I think it's really valuable for a lot of people.
I think something that's important at Food Not Bombs, at the distro site, is the people who participate need to be aware that they're allowed to voice their own problems and their own concerns. Right. They're not there as part of a charity work. They're there to take care of each other, and they're just as much a participant. It doesn't matter what side of the wall you fucking stand on.
That's a good phrase.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what side of the wall you stand on, right? Everyone needs to be cared of, and if you're in a solidarity network, it's easier to be yourself. You are truly free because you don't have as many things to worry about necessarily. And I think that's a liberatory force of Food Not Bombs, of distro.
I'm allergic
is giving
to cats.
people. That's true.
I'm not that much of a hard.
He's like definitely. I usually prefer.
This is, I think, a good introduction for a lot of people into power structures that they're not used to.
Absolutely. I think you're right about that. All right, you want to leave it there? Because I think that was beautiful.
This is going to be edited
I
for
want a better
clarity,
sound,
right?
I want something spicier.
Should I talk about my Food Not Bombs crush? I don't have one.
Be me.
The end. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Let's view this from a different perspective to grasp the liberatory function of Food Not Cops distro. Distro, the distribution of food, is a catalyst for the coordination of community action and local solidarity between attendants. The folk pie thesis of not being able to find solidarity with an unknown other is shown here in its inverse. Solidarity naturally develops between known familiars. Making a person real, and their problems real, and their life and intentions as rational, creates a known other, a fellow citizen. These known citizens can have solidarity for one another, and it creates a web as they disperse back to their zones after distro ends every day. Distro is a social function and a conduit for existing within the real, actual community.